Welcome back to the Gold Jacket finalist. 49ers inside linebacker Patrick Willis is a finalist for the first time. Willis played just 8 seasons, but was a 7-time Pro Bowler and a 5-time first-team All-Pro. Sam Mills is a finalist for the 3rd straight year. Sam went undrafted out of Montclair State in 1981, and after starring in the USFL for 3 seasons, Mills eventually joined the Saints to start a great NFL career. Listed at just 5'9", Mills went on to play 12 seasons, being named to 5 Pro Bowls.
How do you measure a Hall of Famer? Is it by stats, All-Pro selections, impact on the game? However you measure it, Zach Thomas fits the criteria, which is why he's a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2022. Zach Thomas always enjoyed the game within the game. Never blessed with the prototypical size or speed that scouts sought in a middle linebacker, the 5'11", 228-pound dynamo relied on brain as much as brawn to gain an advantage.
What an unreal play by Zach Thomas!
He spent countless hours studying opponents, sometimes locating film that even stats just didn't have. His preparation was so thorough that the collection of spiral notebooks he had actually filled a dressing stall in the locker room. Information was currency, and Thomas got rich focusing on the smallest of details.
Fires, it's intercepted! Zach Thomas! Zach Thomas! Touchdown! It's a touchdown!
He studied formations and tendencies, and he called out opponents' plays before the ball was snapped, confounding and frustrating the most cerebral of quarterbacks and play callers. He was so well prepared, he often was a half step quicker than those attempting to block him or escape his reach, which few ever did.
Smith, he's hit! Zach Thomas with a thunderous hit at the 1-yard line.
Over his 13-year career, he ranked number 1 with 1,733 tackles. It often looked as if someone had hit the fast forward button when he pursued the football. And when he reached the ball carrier, he brought passion and purpose with him, relying on a tackling form that was as square as his granite jaw. Undrafted until the 5th round, Thomas used that slide as motivation to earn 5 first-team All-Pro honors, 7 Pro Bowl berths, and a spot on the All-Decade team for the 2000s.
We're division champs!
He officially retired in 2010, and 2 years later was placed in the Dolphins honor roll.
Thank you for being the greatest fans in the NFL.
In 2019, center Kevin Mawai, during his Hall of Fame induction speech, offered unsolicited support for Thomas.
Zach was one of, if not the smartest player I ever faced. He loved the game, had fun when he played, and he brought the best out in me. When people ask me who's not in the Hall of Fame, and that I think should be, he needs me, number 54 from the Miami Dolphins.
If the 3-time Hall of Fame finalist is able to take that final step as a member of the class of 2022, it's debatable which would be smarter, the selection or the player himself. During his 13-year career, the first 12 of which were spent with the Dolphins, Thomas had 20.5 sacks, 17 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries, 17 interceptions, 4 of which he returned for touchdowns. That is impact.
Yeah, you know, the one thing that I kept thinking about as we was watching that highlight reel of Zach Thomas is I hope I'm not on that highlight reel of him hitting me, because I remember those days, man. He would be after you. And the thing that I think about with Zach Thomas, he wasn't prototypical size. This wasn't a guy that was 6 foot, 6'1". I mean, he's listed at 5'11", which I think is a stretch. 228 pounds, that's debatable. But he was a 3-down backer. Jim, in that piece you talked about how smart the guy was. The reason why he was able to play 3 downs as an undersized guy, because he was so smart, because he understood offenses. He understood where to get in those zones and be able to frustrate the quarterback. But more than ever, I thought about the 10 straight seasons of 100+ tackles. Think of the consistency that took for a guy like him playing in the middle in a brutal game at that time that we played.
Yeah, absolutely, LT. I covered Zach Winkie, Jimmy Johnson's first draft class, 5th round pick out of Texas Tech. Took 2 preseason games at the most for Jimmy Johnson to realize he was the starter. Jack Del Rio was let go. All right, Jim, we talked about the other inside linebacker, Patrick Willis, right? Just 8 seasons. You know, some people say that's a short career. 7 of them Pro Bowlers, 5 of them All-Pro. Just what about the impact he had and why he's so deserving to be here?
You know, a lot like Zach, he was so smart. He understood offenses. He had a great running mate in Navarro Bowman. The 2 of them together, you could say, were the best inside linebacker tandem during their time together. And he was so physical, so fast, so smart, so competitive that, you know, it's a shame that he didn't play longer, but during the time that he did play, he was one of the most impactful linebackers in the game.
Yeah, I agree, Jim, and I think just his physical presence of sitting there in that San Francisco 49ers middle of the defense, he always seemed to come up with the big play at the right time, not to mention that he was on every single tackle. It was really incredible, the stretch that he had, and only played 8 years to make All-Pro 5 times is really outstanding.
Yeah, look at Sam Mills, another small guy in stature, one of the greatest leaders ever, the Saints and the Panthers, the inspiration for Keep Pounding. Jared Allen is a Hall of Fame finalist for the 2nd time in his ability. Allen's 22 sacks in 2011 are tied for the 2nd most all-time in a season. His 136 career sacks places him 12th on the all-time list. Richard Seymour is a finalist for the 4th consecutive year. He's a 3-time first-team All-Pro and a 3 Super Bowl champ with the Patriots. Seymour was named to the All-Decade Team of the 2000s. Bryant Young is a Hall of Fame finalist for the 2nd time. His 89.5 career sacks is the most in 49ers team history. Young is a 4-time Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl. So, Jim, as we look at these guys on the defensive line who are among the final 15, Richard Seymour,